Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Got an interesting platoon game for you today. In World of Tanks, this is, what are we, tier 10 here? We've got Squash Balls from Cube. We've got Avoided Donut from Cube. And Guppy44 from Cube in his Bat Chat 25. I have the replays for Avoided and Squash Balls. We've got Squash in his Grille right here, Grill 15. And he is, what is this map we're on? Erlenberg spawned into the north in a standard battle. Now, I want you to notice Avoided Donut over there getting super aggressive in his T50/51. So he's hanging out up there. We'll watch him, what he's doing. He drives up and over and he's kind of driving. He just goes crazy. He goes at him like a spider monkey. And you can see that Squash is looking at him going, bro, what are you doing? And he just heads in there. So we'll get back to, I have his replay. We'll get back to Avoided Donut, who's avoiding the donut here in just a moment. And we'll see what Squash makes of this whole thing. There is a Cube back here behind him with Guppy. It looks like the plan was for Squash to go up there. Sorry, Avoided Donut to go up there. Spot and see if we could get some shots for the grill and the Bat Chat. Type 61 goes in. You can see that their team has a pretty good force over on the west side. So that should go okay there. And the middle is a little bit weak. It looks like the enemy team has a huge middle push. And all of a sudden we have the grill breaking cover, the Bat Chat breaking cover, and look where the Avoided Donut is. Now that's a very unusual position early in the game. Look how many enemies are around there. And you might say, well, he's not long for the world. In fact, he's already taken some arty. But let's see what happens there. He comes down there and he's kind of hanging out. Looks like Guppy comes in and starts punishing people. And it looks like, okay, so Avoid Donut's moving around down there, doing his thing, and all of a sudden, all these guys in the middle who are attempting to get the Avoided Donut, they are attempting to not avoid the donut. They're getting absolutely punished by all the snipers. You will also notice, very strangely, that in this case, the east side is not covered at all by the enemy. Not a single tank went over to the east side. This is very unusual. The battle's going on in the west, the center is engaged, but this whole east side is just punishing all the guys down in the middle. And that happens on this map. If you do not cover the flanks on this map, your guys in the city, although it seems like they would be relatively well protected, are not, because there's so many little holes like this one right here and spaces where they can get hit. There's 730 dropped on him. Looks like Squash is using this bush very nicely here. Avoided Donut is lighting guys up down there and presumably getting some spotting. We'll get to him in just a minute. That JPZ, here's an interesting thing. See how that JPZ's outline looks different than usual? That's because he's got the skin on it. First time I glanced at it, I said, oh, that's one of those 268 version 4 things. But at this range, it sort of resembles that, but it's not. That's actually a JPZ with the new 3D skin. That's something you're going to have to take into your cross-check, because a lot of times I could kind of identify a tank based on the silhouette, but with these new 3D skins, that's going to change that just a little bit. Obviously, it says JPZ 100 right over it, but that first kind of quick glance, sometimes you go, okay, that's what that is, and not even worry too much about reading it, but that's changing a little bit with these crazy 3D skins. Just something I wanted to throw out there for you guys. Not a huge thing, but something to think about. So we've got a JPZ there, kind of anchoring that. The 54E1's trying to figure out how the heck to get rid of Avoided Donut, because he is a thorn in their side. Look how many guys he is keeping lit up. He goes in there, he's actually in there, gets behind and gets a T54, and we'll get to his replay in a minute, but now he's punishing the 60 TP, which was looking the other way. So he just came around behind him down one of those alleyways, drops 3 shells into him, and runs away with his autoloader. And look at this. The WZ is not well pleased and decides that he needs to get rid of the Avoided Donut. And I'm thinking, well, that's the end of the donut, because finally they've done, well, never mind. Finally the enemy team has tried to do something. Thank goodness that JPZ missed him and whatever else that was. He pulls back. The Grille is not known for its camo. It is known for its camo. It's not known for its armor. Its armor. I'll spit it out here in just a minute. Not a really super safe spot, to be quite honest, because it is... There are a couple bushes to use here, but he's exposed on this side, and they would have to have pretty good spotting, but you could do it. Good news is that the greens have kept them from getting there, but look what's going on here. This 50-51 is coming around. And, oh, by the way, the entire west side has fallen. Those tanks got absolutely rolled up, and now we're a little bit behind 6 to 8. The donut is still alive. He has avoided death. He's avoided the donut, and he has avoided death. Fantastic job by him. We'll get down to him in just a minute. as soon as we finish up here with Squash. You can see I haven't really talked about Guppy. I don't have his replay. I wish I did, but he's mostly doing sniping up there. He will have a lot of damage in a good game. And eventually at the end, we'll come down and help whatever happens at the end. Did I just give it away? I shouldn't have given it away. We'll see, though. We'll see. It's not necessarily a win. This is a close game. This is a close game. But I thought it was interesting because a couple reasons. Number one, team play with platoons really is a force multiplier in this game. You can do so much more with a team, with a platoon. See if he sneaks one right into that upper superstructure. Nope, doesn't quite get it that time. So that's the synergistic quality of a platoon, is that they can work together like these guys are doing. Avoided Donut is clearly spotting for the Bat Chat and for the Grille. There's 716 popped right into that upper superstructure. That's just knowledge of the tanks right there, folks. He loads the heat. He goes into that flat-plated upper superstructure. As a matter of fact, from that height, he's flat-plating it a little bit more even as he's looked down on the guy. And takes a nice big chunk out of him. And then pretty soon we're going to have this guy out. And that was one of the main dudes that was keeping Donut from being able to maneuver. Unfortunately, there's the dudes who have filtered now that they lost the middle. See, those two tanks are gone now. Now that they've lost the middle, that STB is within range of getting lights on the Grille. So he's no longer safe up here, and he just starts getting absolutely hammered from every direction. Trying to back out and get away from these guys. I don't know if I would have kept coming back, Squash. I'd be worried about the 50-51 getting close to Conway. He either guessed, yeah, he did get seen because you got lit up. So another shot into you, and you're just crossfired. Oh, crap, there's the STB-1. We're going to try to take a poke at him. He hits us too, and boom, down we go from the STB. And then the RD, for good measure, just in case we weren't dead enough, takes us out. So I think a little bit of an error end game right there. You could have kept yourself alive on that sniper hill by being a little more careful. But I'm sure you know that at this point. Am I telling you something new? I don't think so. Now this is very interesting. This is the special part of this replay. Let's get to it. Do you remember when Avoided Donut went up that hill and then charged down across in a highly unusual move that actually worked out to a massive advantage for his team, based solely on the fact that the enemy team put nobody over on the east side? Well, the fact is he disconnected. So you might have been thinking in the first half of the video, what a genius move by the Avoided Donut. How did he know? How did he make that happen? And then how did he sense the deployment? Was he using the force? Was he, it's hard to tell what he was doing there. What kind of magical skill is involved? Well, you can disconnect and just drive straight across the whole map. Anyway, let's see how he handles it, right? When life gives you lemons, you make donuts, all right? So when life gives you lemons, make some donuts. And he is just going to start racking up the assists. He's at 1,640. He doesn't have a lot of choice, right? At this point, if he was taking shots from his left side, he'd know there's somebody on the east. The E-50's moved up. He's pretty secure that there's no one there. As a matter of fact, the Artie is apparently not over there because they never take any shots at him, interestingly. So he's got guys lit up. And that is really actually, in fact, helping the two tanks, the IS-4 and the Panzer VII that he has in the town, because had all these guys pushed into those, they probably win the town pretty easily based on how many of the green team is either camping in the back or over there on the east side now trying to help the donut. You can see why the guys on the west side lost, because they did. They just are getting overwhelmed. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tanks over there. They've already lost 1 or 2. Now they're down to 1. So you can see that whole flank is collapsing. And the Avoided Donuts over here trying to work on these guys, keeping them lit for all the snipers. Probably, obviously, talking to Squash and to Guppy and discussing, all right, I'm keeping this guy lit, and they're letting him know when he's loaded, trying to bait him out. All those things that you can do, those synergistic things that you can do with a platoon. Now, here's where he notices the T-54 is at the edge over there. So I can tell he's thinking about, all right, can I go get those dudes? Can I punish them? He doesn't want to walk into the 100% WZ and let him have shots. So he's going to be careful about it. He comes around now, 60 TPs there. and he catches out the T55 or T54, takes him down. The 60 TP is not looking, so here's one for you, here's another one for you, and one more for you. And so we've dropped a bunch more damage to 1,475, and we're at 3,965 assists. So as I was saying earlier, it's not a great situation. Here comes the WC. I'm sure he thought he had this guy. It's like, I just need to kill him, and then everything is good. No. Really, to be quite honest, the play of the game, had they been able to peel the donut out of there, had they been able to avoid that donut crushing them with all this assist, this game probably is won, and it really more than likely turned on that play right there. So we're at 4,137. But when the game gives you this situation, whether it's via disconnect or weird positioning by the enemy or your team, you just got to go with the flow. And that's what's so cool about this game. It is not formulaic, right? It's not the same thing at all times. I like this. He takes 2 shots and notices how slow the turret is coming on, and he's able to sneak one more in before that guy. And he doesn't stand in for that third one because he knows he's going to take a big hit, and that 60 TP will remove him from the game. I think it's a 750 alpha gun, as I recall. So he just continues to come back and forth. This 5041 really wants to get rid of him. Most of the time, and I haven't been showing you everything, but he's been driving back and forth, trying to figure out how he's going to get rid of the donut. But he's probably noticed that there's quite the rogues gallery of snipers up there on the eastern hills, so there's no sense coming around and getting lit. The JPZ is challenging it a little bit. Looks like Donut thinks just maybe one of them might try to come around, and that's exactly what I'd be thinking. He's a good player, and he understands what his position is doing for his team. It's really the only reason they're still in the game, or even really got in the game, to be quite honest, based on a disconnect and a rage across the open and nobody going to the east side. I love this as an example of how this game is different. This game, World of Tanks, how it is different from a lot of other games in the chess aspect, and the fact that it's all PvP. So you get this, that weird stuff happens. You might go, well, why would you not send a single guy on? I don't know. I don't know why the enemy team, there's so many reasons, right? It runs the gamut. It runs the complete gamut of human decision making and gameplay, and that's why World of Tanks is so compelling. It really is. It's not just looking at DPG and out DPMing people, not DPG, but DPM. It's not about outbuilding somebody like an RTS or being as quick as possible on the keys, hand jamming or spazzing on the. It's really interesting when you get games like this. So finally, the Grill takes down, or whoever it was, I think it was the Grill, takes down the JPZ. And that breaks open Avoided Donut to kind of move around. I didn't know that was there, by the way. I did not know you could get up there on that spot. It's not a spot I've ever gone to. Maybe from this direction I knew. That ramp right there, I did know that. And this ramp. But he actually crawled up. This tank has pretty good speed. And, what is it? Power to weight, I guess it is. Whatever the thing is called. Whatever the Wargaming calls it. I don't think they call it power to weight, do they? Anyway, good power to weight so it can crawl up things like that. And now he's looking for the last 2 guys. He kind of takes a peek. All right, is the 5041? No, he's not there. Neither is the 1390. The 5051 enemy was getting into the backfield, but all of a sudden Guppy kills him. Notice this power slide to go right back the direction he was going. So that was good. He and Guppy were going to go deal with this 5051, but Guppy got him out. Now he can come back this way and start looking for the 1390 and the 54E1. That was an important move, by the way, that you saw him while I was talking. He's going back to the isolated guy, getting rid of the guy that was going to come in from behind them so that they can start concentrating on these other 2 who are probably still in this general area. More than likely, turtled up somewhere near their cap. The Batchat goes screaming in, looking to light him up. There goes the light tank. He's actually now out in the open. He was over there. Looks like he might have been trying to move around and look for shots finally move around, look for shots into the back or side of Avoided Donut if he could get it. But his team collapsed just as he was probably making that move. I bet if we saw his replay, it would show him making a very late move to try to do that. He should have done that so much earlier when Avoided was just collapsing his team by keeping them lit. And I was a bit surprised that he didn't do it, actually, because I saw there was a 1390. Then I saw him in the town. I wondered, why are you in the town? Go long, go around, over to the east side and light these guys up. I had a video recently as well where we talked a bit about this, where one tank in its kind of strange positioning, I believe it was a Grill 15 in that case on Ruinberg, where one tank with some kind of bizarre positioning completely anchored the enemy team's win without really doing a whole bunch. Now he got actually big spotting damage too, because he was proxy lighting a bunch of guys that were attempting to shoot down the road into the city, but because he was in a weird spot behind some rubble and they didn't go get him, he ends up wrecking and in this case I was on the bad side of that. He ends up wrecking our entire team. So he's coming after the 100% Conway, gets 2 shots on, 3 shots, maybe 4, doesn't quite kill him. There we go. Tries to get away, and the Conway reloads pretty quickly, and that's not bad though. Whatever, 3,967 damage, 4,068 assists, nearly 10,000 combined. What? Oh, it is over 10,000. Math in public, right? 60, oh no, 70, no, it's just below, just below 10,000 if I'm counting that right. Let's just say I am just below 10,000 combined. Really nice game. Very interesting. 5 kills on the bat chat, 1 for avoided, plus all the damage in the spotting. Squash chipped in another 3K or so, I believe, with two kills. It's a really interesting game overall, and I think it does a really great job of illustrating why the game is interesting overall as well. World of Tanks, why it's lasted so long, why it is not a formulaic, every game is the same, you know. There are meta positions, there are good and bad ways to play things, but sometimes, really oftentimes, goofy stuff happens because it's humans. Plus you throw in the RNG, and that's the one I haven't touched on. But frankly, people, the RNG is one of the things that keeps this game so interesting. It keeps it from the very best players completely dominating and making every single game the same every time. You know, there's good and bad. I wish there wasn't quite as much, but frankly, guys, it's one of the reasons why we like this game so much, to be quite honest. Plus the human element and the weird stuff like this is just great. That's all I've got for today. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate your support of the channel as always. If you're looking for other ways to do so, down in the description you can find multiple ways. That's all I've got. We'll see you.